Welcome back to another Buy or Invest. This time around, what we got is Fate Grand Order, the movie Divine Realm of the Round Table Camelot. I'm going to call it Camelot from now on because that is really long. And again, with this series, what I look to do is go over my thought process on whether I buy products just for my collection, right? Just to have like 1, 2, 5, 10, 20, just for my own personal collection that I never intend to sell. What I mean by the invest part is buy more booster boxes or sealed product in the hopes that it goes up in price, that has the most potential to go up in price, and sell it if I need to for money, right? Like the collection part is me forever. The invest part is potentially sell. And what I always say, disclaimer wise, is I don't look to sell any of it. I would love to hold on to all of it until I get old and then I can open it later on in life. So with that, let's get going. This product is coming out on June 17th, 2022. The only sealed product available for it is the booster box. There is no trial deck. It is a standard set overall. What I mean by that is when you look at the amount of cards, there are 100 cards that are not shiny and all that stuff. There are 40 types of parallels. So we've been seeing sets with like 50, 60, even 100 parallel versions of cards. This is not one of those sets. It is going to be your normal standard one. There's also 10 double rares, so nothing crazy on the double rare part. You get the normal stuff. There is PR cards and a Stitch playmat if you buy a big brown box with 18 booster boxes inside of it. One of the major announcements for this is, we all know, Weiss Schwarz hasn't come out and said it, but there is a commonality that this is an Aniplex title. There will be no signatures as part of this release, which means there will be two variations of the SP card. One with redesigned quotes and character names, and one with serial numbers. This is what it looks like. So the Japanese one was on the left side. You can see it looks all great and fine and has a signature on it. The one on the right in the middle is just that name and quote. And the one all the way to the right, if you want to look in the top right corner here, is a serial number. This one says 01 and then 10. So we know there is going to be 10 cards per SP that have serial numbers on it, and there are 7 SPs. So here's number 1. Here is number 2. When I put these on these slides, I was like, man, this looks kind of boring. So like if you take a look at Mosh here, and then you take a look at the Lion King, right? Like when you just look at all 3 cards together here, it looks kind of boring. I know there's a difference when you have it in your hand and it shines and it has that gold around and that border right there. It'll look really cool. It's just the card design looks pretty boring right now to me. See, so when you take a look at these as well, and these last ones here, you have Bedivere here. It's not all that eye-popping to me. The ones that really stood out for me are the RTRs, the Round Table Rares, which will be coming up. I think it's the coloration on these cards, right? Like it doesn't stand out. But again, once you have it in hand, it looks a lot different. The main thing again to note is really no signatures. There's gonna be serial numbers, and we'll see how that affects the cards later. Okay, so we actually had Fate Grand Order come out before this. This is January 22nd, 2021. This is Babylonia. It had a booster box and a trial deck. We'll hit on that a little bit later. The anime following is what I always take a look at just to make sure that when I invest, is it really worth investing in? Is there a ton of people that 10 years from now are gonna want this product? That's what I'm looking for. And when I look at the anime following for Babylonia, ranked number 651. Overall, they gave it a score of 7.94 out of the users. Popularity 837, and 230,000 people clicked the button to just be a member of it. So this part may or may not affect you all this much, but storyline wise, I wanted to write this down. This version, Babylonia, happened after the movie that we're talking about here, after Camelot, storyline wise. But you could see where it is being shoved out for Weiss Schwarz. Like Babylonia came out first, and now the movie's coming out afterwards. This is about the sixth singularity that happened in Babylonia. Okay, after the sixth singularity. Okay, Camelot is the sixth singularity. Okay, so the anime following for this movie, not so good. You have a score of 6.83, ranked 4609, and popularity 2232. Only 67,000 souls decided to follow this movie here, so not that great. If you really want to think about that, that's pretty awful. I know normally it goes down, like when you go sequel to sequel. Like if you go right now on my anime list and check out Sword Art Online, it goes down gradually, but at the same time, it's not this bad. All right. So now what we got here is the booster box, the contents. Like I said, the specials, which would be your non-signature cards now, are 7 cards. Round table rare, we got 5 cards. Triple rare 8, super rare 20, double rare are 10. So like I said, it's a normal looking set. What are RTRs? This is what they are. It is your overframe rares. So you didn't like overframe rares, well, you got them again. So that's what we're getting here. This time around, there's nothing with like stamps on it, right? Like no symbols or anything like that. I think overall these pop out to me. Look at the colors. That's what I meant. Like when you take a look at the colors on just the card alone. I know there's going to be gold foiling um, on some of the other ones. Like maybe the foiling is going to pop out, but on this one, like the color, I think it's the brightness of color, right? We got red, purples, blues, which is a heck of a lot better than what we got here with the just gold. They have quotes, names, and all that. Like the colors don't really pop out as me as much as the RTRs, which like that's pretty cool. I like that. It looks really nice. Okay, so meta-wise, if you go out onto Encore decks, if you go on YouTube, you can find decks, you can find tier list and all that good stuff. I talked about it a million times before, but these are the ones that stood out to me was the choice door. There are different variations, of course. Not everybody uses the same, right? The one in the bottom right has 6 events, where the one in the top left has 4 events. So you can vary it, but I think for me, if I were to play this deck, I would go with Choice Door. Okay, that's what I'm gonna say. Okay, there we go. All right, moving on, price-wise, Yuyute. So normally I take a look at Yuyute to see what the Japanese release has been doing. As you can see, all cleared out. Like this is completely gone, nothing for sale left. The Lion King, super huge, 59,800 yen. And then we have Bedivere down there for 24,800, and Mosh, we have 29,800. So pretty expensive if you want to think about that. But remember, we're not getting the signature versions. We're getting serial number versions. So this thing kind of goes out the window. With roundtable rares, it's going to be the exact same thing. So overall, pretty not good. I mean, it's basically what you expect with OFRs. If you've been watching anything with the market with OFRs, how they've been in the past, this makes total sense to you if you're looking at it now. So 2480 for the Lion King, and then we also have Red Saber down there with 2480 sold out. So as you can see, there are some that are still available, some that are gone, but overall price not really expensive. Okay. I put these here. These are your triple rares. The major thing to note is, you could see down here, 2980 for a spear that shines at the end. But there's still 5 available. When you look at these prices, these triple rares aren't really that high, and some of the higher end ones, I guess 2 of the higher end ones are still available. So not completely bought out, right? Um, and that's your choice, and that's your door. So think about that one. All right. Anyways, we got SRs as well, not very expensive at all. The big one right here on this screen is 680. I did not look at this all. 780 on your Mosh. Yeah, no. So SR is not the greatest. Not the greatest. So as you can see, SR, triple rares, round table rares, not all that expensive. The main draw for this when it came to collector cards was your actual signature cards, which we are not getting. So let's move on. Why I keep hitting on the non-signature part is there are going to be people that are going to be really, really excited for this because of the serial number card aspect of it. And I need to point out the fact that these cards aren't really going to be that amazing, right? Like it's meta-wise, it's okay. when you take a look at the collector side of it, it's all right with signatures, but these don't have signatures. So we have to take a look at what happened with Sword Art Online. What happened with Sword Art Online was this thing went crazy, but I want you to do like a comparison. So what I did was a 3-on-3. We're having like a 3-on-3 battle. I want you to, in your mind, say, of these people on the screen, which one would you pay for $5,000? Right? For a serial number one, which one of these characters would you pay $5,000 for? 4,000, 3,000, 2,000, 1,000. I want you to go through that line. Now, when you think about this, how many other people do you think are willing to pay that number for any of these cards? Like rank them out, like literally write them down and tell me which ones that you would pay in that order. Because that is really what the price is going to be contingent on, right? Like what happened with Sword Art Online, I feel like is because the popularity of Sword Art Online. That makes sense to me. What you have here with Fate Grand Order Camelot, not the greatest of characters, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. Like what I saw popularity wise is not going to be the same from Sword Art Online over or over to Camelot. It's just not going to happen. And what we have here is you could see at some point the light that penetrates Sinon was actually put up on TCG Player and sold pretty immediately. It was gone. I think it was gone within a couple hours. $2,500. That's what it sold at. And I know people are willing to pay $10,000 for Asuna number 1. So that is a thing. 10,000 bucks. Is anybody gonna pay $10,000 for a Mosh? Or is there that much demand for the Mosh or the Lion King or Bedivere as one of these characters? I would say no based on everything. I mean, there's going to be always that one person, two people that do it. But with the Asuna, there was enough people that were willing to pay that, right? There was enough people to pay a Sinon at $2,500. I think if you drop a Sinon, depending on the number, people are willing to pay $2,500 right away. I don't know how many people are willing to pay for some of these other ones, right? Right, like look at these. And again, I'm not trying to insult the brand or the characters or anything like that. It really is just like numbers on a page, right? I see this anime following, I see the characters, I see the look of the cards, and I don't think they are equivalent at all. They're not equivalent. So that's if a lot of the money hangs on your signed cards, which aren't signed cards, and now there's serial numbers. What do you expect to really happen here? So as you see, with this whole signature thing, the bad part about the signatures are the fact that um, people are not going to buy this set as much. And there's going to be people that look for serial numbers. What happens then is there's only a limited amount of serial numbers, and you're left with a lot of non-serial numbers. And look at the prices of these cards. They were definitely devastated, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! $50, Lifa $60. You have Sinon 100, Alice as 84.50, Kirito as 90, and you even have Asuna as 174.52. So that's why I use Asuna, Sinon, Alice, because those were like your bigger ones. You could say Kirito too. Could have put him up there. But overall, I think you have a humongous difference between the two IPs. And because of that, it's going to hurt the overall value long term and all that good stuff. Okay, so that was not the only two that had serial numbers. We also had Magia Record Anime. You can see the exact same thing. This Magia Record Anime was the first one to come out without signatures. They put serial numbers on them. The serial numbers are really ugly looking. It was really bad, the locations where they put it. And overall, I can't imagine this is a highly bought or opened set at all. And you can see this is just the miracle of time that's happened, right? Like that, even though there's no signatures on them, 504 is Saruno in the bottom right. We have Felicia 275. We have Iroha at 165. But you see the rest of them: Rena, Kaide, Sana, Momoko. Like you could see, like they're all pretty low down on the scale. So Saruno and I know Felicia were definitely usable in the actual set. So I think that's part of it. But at the same time, Lack of signatures is a humongous problem. It definitely devastates the value. And now if you have serial number hunters going out there, as we saw with Sword Art Online, it gets really, really cheap when you look at the cards overall. It looks really bad. Okay, so I think what's going to happen here is some of what's going to happen to FGO. So along with the non-serial signature cards that we have being low in price, you're going to have double rares going to be low in price because people are going to open a ton of this stuff. They're not going to look to play it, which is good for players. If you're a player, or if you just want to collect like a master set, one of each card, it's good for you because you can go in and swoop in and buy like some of these cards on the low versus like buying play sets or whatever like that. So this is something else to be looking out for. If you think there's going to be a ton of serial number hunters, then yeah, you might want to wait on buying this because this should drop pretty far. If there isn't going to be a lot of serial number hunters, if you don't think this is popular enough, then maybe buy the playset. But I would put my money on waiting on it and seeing if this double rares drop. Because like I said, meta wise, not really the greatest. Like when you consider like what's actually out there, right? Like versus like Mishoku, you have Slime, you got Bang Dream happening, you got Love Live. What else is there? Hollow Live coming out. Yeah, so comparatively, and Quince 2 coming out in August. Like comparatively, FGO is not bad. It's just there's a lot of stuff that's out there, right? Like that you can do. But so double rare wise, as you saw with Sword Art Online, Kirito 407. That's the big one, and everything else is like under $2. So pretty ugly when it comes to double rares. The double rares I skipped on purpose, but here's what we have on Yute. The big one is the Lion King 1480, and then everything else is 680 and below. So this is going to be a fairly cheap set. As you can see, there's plenty of double rares left, not sold out. So overall, you're going to be okay. And the bad part about this set, good or bad, depending on the person that you are, if you do not need Babylonia to actually play this set, like this is like Slime 1, Slime 2 kind of feeling, where you can use some cards from Volume 1, which is Babylonia, into Camelot, but that's really Mosh decks. If you're just looking to play, you don't want to buy some of those cards, then really you don't actually have to. Camelot, like this set right here, these decks right here, Door Choice, you do not need to actually have any Babylonia. So that hurts overall Babylonia, but at the same time, the prices on Babylonia are really expensive if you think about the sealed and the trial deck. I think trial deck was like $40 or $50, and the booster box I thought was like over 200, 220, something like that. So plus side for you, if you just wanted to play the game, you don't need to have the Babylonia cards. So overall, what we got here is, yeah, that's all I want to say. Overall, anime, as you saw, not the strongest with the movie. There's not a lot of people following. I think part of it is maybe you can't find it. I haven't watched this movie personally. I definitely watched Fate Grand Order Babylonia. That's on Crunchyroll. So if you haven't, check it out. The meta strength, it's okay. 3.5 stars is what I'm going to give it. Again, just comparatively to what is here now and what is about to come out and devastate. So we have a bunch of stuff coming up that's going to definitely gonna be interesting for FGO Babylonia. Okay, so overall, what I got is this is mid-high strength. We got serial numbers. Serial numbers is going to be the biggest player in it. You need to ask yourself again, where do you rank these? How much people are really going to spend for these? If you want to actually open the sucker up, gamble on, you're really gambling. Like at this point with these serial numbers and the set overall, you're gambling that you pull that serial number, or you just love Fate Grand Order. Uh, that's really what it comes down to. You don't need Babylonia, which sucks for people that wanted to offload, let's say, some of their double rares, and commons, something like that from the prior set. This set can also help you sell some of those just because people have some interest in like Fate Grand Order. But like I think overall, singles will definitely be available due to serial hunting. That's 100% going to be the case, I believe. And then for me personally, where I land on this, it's just for collection purposes. I'm not going to go that extra effort. Serial numbers, I think, is, I don't want to say gimmicky. They have to do it because of this Aniplex thing. They more than likely don't want to do it. It works for some stuff, but if you take a look at Rebirth for You, right? Serial numbers are great. It helps the value of the actual sealed, but it's not like every time a serial number comes out, it goes to like 1,000, 5,000, $10,000. Nothing like that. You saw that with Magia Record. It just doesn't happen. I think it really comes down to characters and the series and all of that stuff. So I really don't want to own it, as in like investment wise. There's other things coming up that I would rather own, especially with Hollow Live. I'd rather own that for future, because what has a better chance of doing well in the future? Hollow Live or Fate Grand Order Camelot? And my money says Hollow Live. There's a lot more of these VTubers. There's a lot huger following. I'd rather put my money there. So that's where I land on all this. Um, what else we got here is, if you didn't think I was able to do this, I did. You've watched my last couple. We had Bushy Road English Conference Spring 2022. We had Revival on here, which during the previews they put out these cryptic messages. We have marker counters for a revival with a compass. We got Seven Deadly Sins revival of the commandments. We had A Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl, which they wrote Beautiful Dream. So this is what I meant by on the second line there was a clue. On here, the second line, there is no second line. So I don't actually believe Bloom is a clue. It had more probably just to do with the theme of the English conference itself. So I do this jokingly now because bam, look at that. What we have here, I didn't say it all this time, but part two, Fate Grand Order Camelot as actually two parts, a movie one and a movie two. And what we have here was, the first one was called Wandering. This actually, yeah, the first one was Wandering. This one is Paladin, I believe. So I didn't write that here. Part two, I wrote Wandering, but that should really say Paladin. So my bad. But what we got going on here is, you can see we got some flowers shooting out of the cape. We got Saber there. We got our blue Saber. So I will say this is actually a big joke because what I will say, this is a joke because on the actual description of Fate Grand Order Camelot, it actually includes both. So as you can see, scenes from both the movie Wandering and the second movie Paladin are captured in the cards. That was the only thing I could see with flowers. So it is 100% not going to be Fate Grand Order second movie for Camelot because it's already in this one. So the plus side about this set really is that you're getting both movies. So if you haven't seen it, maybe you do because some of the cards are here. And I know that, there it is, Bedivere. So that card or that image that I just showed is actually on an SR for Bedivere Knight of Loyalty right there, sold out, 400 yen. So anybody that wanted a announcement to deal with movie 2, not gonna happen because it's already in this box. So there you go. So hopefully that helps. I'm going to try to do these. I'm just going to start pumping these out. I don't agree with pre-ordering months and months and months ahead. I know this thing comes out in June, which is okay at this point. When I took a look at supply out there, there is definitely still FGO. Again, I don't think this is one of the stronger sets, and that's why you could still find them. Or maybe it's just so much product and the economy and all that stuff that why this is still out there. But I would have to hinge my money on the fact that if you could still find this, it's really because the popularity is not as strong. CO number or not CO number, it's not going to be as strong as like Hollow Live, which is completely gone. Even some places are out of Tokyo Revengers. So that should tell you something why you could still find Fate Grand Order and Tokyo Revengers is disappearing from places. So the amount of, I guess, hype and all that, and you can tell me it's because Tokyo Revengers is slated to come out in May, which is true, but got pushed back. But then you take a look at Danmachi, which I see more disappearing of Danmachi as well. Like, and that comes out in July. So overall, I think this is a set that is, if you're not interested in it, definitely passable. If you don't want to miss out on the hype of serial numbers, maybe you buy one, maybe you buy two. Or if you got money, buy 18 and go for it. But I think overall, it's outside of the gimmicky serial number, or if you just really love Fate Grand Order, not worth really getting into all that much unless you want to play it, which is again okay to play. All right, with that, as always, have fun, be happy, and don't spend anything outside of your budget. Have a good one.